So, what do you think, William? James asked. The first thing I did after seeing you was to write a letter to my old pal and ask him to make his granddaughter your fiancée. Fiancée? The old man grinned as he rubbed William's chubby cheeks. She's a year older than you, James explained. Although I haven't seen her, the old bastard always bragged about his cute granddaughter. Since that is the case, making her your fiancée is definitely a good thing. She's also the daughter of a duke. It's a good opportunity for our family to climb the ranks of nobility. I didn't know my grandpa was a gold digger. The baby's expression clouded over. The old man noticed the baby's disgruntled expression and decided to coax it. What's wrong with having a beautiful girl as your fiancée? What, you're not satisfied? Don't worry. When you grow up, I'll make sure that you eat the cooked rice as soon as possible. They can't break off the engagement once a little William is inside her tummy. Be bastard. William wanted to slap his grandpa for even thinking of committing a crime. Although he was not reluctant to the idea of having a fiancée, arranged marriages didn't usually end well. Most of the time, it was just a tool for political gains to the nobles. James wandered around the estate carrying William. Ella walked alongside the old bastard and kept a watchful eye on the little baby. An hour later, James climbed a hill overlooking the town of Lant. William, our family had lived here for generations, James said. The life here is simple and crude, but it is very peaceful. Far away from the despicable games of the nobility, yet not important enough for the king's watchful eyes. This was the first time that William had seen his grandpa act this seriously. For a brief moment, he had forgotten that the old fool wanted him to tumble on the bed with his fiancée and give him a great-grandchild. Our bloodline is very scant. Aside from me, my two sons, Matthew and you, there are no more Ainsworth in this land. We are the last of a dying breed. We don't have any living relatives, William frowned. How come? James sighed as he looked at the distance. William could see sadness and unwillingness in his grandpa's expression. Although he wanted to know why their bloodline only had a few family members, he knew that now was not the right time. A few hours passed and the family had a dinner celebration to commemorate James's safe return from his trip. Matthew, the eldest son of his Uncle Mordred and Aunt Anna, sat beside James. William, on the other hand, was lying beside Ella and drinking her milk. His eyes were locked on the family dinner in front of him. He had never experienced this when he was still on Earth because he was an orphan. However, right now he was wrapped in a sense of belonging. This was his family, and the soul inside the baby felt grateful for being given the opportunity to be born into this warm and caring family. Back then, if I had entered the silver portal, would I have been born into a family that is better than this? William thought. During his one-year stay at the Ainsworth residence, he found out that his real mother was in the elven continent of Silvermoon. William had no recollection of what his mother looked like. All he knew was that they were forced to separate due to his mother's circumstance. It's fine, William muttered inside his heart. I'll look for my mother when I grow older. There's no need to rush. William had already known that his father had died. He didn't know how he died, because no one in the family discussed it. Like the issue with his mother, he decided to find out more when he had reached a suitable age. After dinner, William was carried to the couple's bedroom. Ella stayed with him as usual.
Mama, do you want to return to the dungeon? Me?
Are you not scared? Me? You want to become stronger? The Angorian goat licked the baby's cheeks in reply. Aya? Okay, but we will return immediately if things get dangerous, okay? Me. A few hours passed and the couple was finally in deep sleep. William held the ring that was hanging on his necklace with both hands and activated it. A second later, he found himself at the familiar cavern. Ella stood beside him and was on full alert. Discover new chapters on zerovel.com. Bestow. Ella's body glowed and she grew half a meter taller. Her stats had been raised by 10. However, that didn't end there. William's passive skills, Way of the Shepherd and Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, boosted the stats with 3 additional stat points. While William didn't know if the current Ella was strong or not, he was sure that she could handle a one-on-one battle with a goblin. Name: Ella. Race: Angorian goat. Hit points: 425, 425. Mana: 150, 150. Strength: 2. Agility: 613. Vitality: 413. Intelligence, 213. Dexterity, 220. Aya, Mama, remember our agreement. We will only fight up to 2 goblins at a time, okay? Me, the Angorian goat, laid down on the ground. William crawled on Ella's back in order to mount her. For some reason, the moment he sat on the goat's back, he felt that he wouldn't be dismounted even if Ella ran at full speed. It was as if the two of them had merged into a single entity. It was a strange feeling, but he didn't dislike it. Aya, let's go, Mama. Me, the baby and goat pair snuck into the depths of the goblin crypt. William's heart beat wildly inside his chest. Although he was afraid, he was also looking forward to the possibility of becoming one of those protagonists that he had read about in the novels back on Earth. 15 minutes after they arrived in the dungeon, William and Ella found their first target. It was a lone goblin that was currently making a weird dance over a bonfire. For safety reasons, William dismounted Ella's back so the goat could fight without worrying about his safety. Aya, Mama Ella, use steel armament. The goat took a fighting stance, and her horns and hooves glittered for a brief moment. The steel armament skill had a duration of an hour. It was a very useful skill that ensured that Ella's primary weapons would be as hard as steel. Aya, use quick attack. Me! William watched as Ella's image blurred from where she stood. The next second, the goblin that was dancing on the bonfire leaked out a shriek as its body flew a few meters away due to the impact. Ella immediately used its hooves to stomp at the goblin's face repeatedly. William half covered his eyes at the brutal scene in front of him. He only stopped covering his eyes when he heard the ringing sound of a notification. Gained EXP points 60. Current EXP 424, 1,366. Job EXP, Shepherd Level 1, 140, 200. Ella returned triumphantly by his side. The goat licked the baby's cheeks to assure him that she was all right. Aya, good job, Mama. Me! After taking care of 2 more goblins, Ella gained another level. Since Ella and William's skill level is the same, both of them gained a level together. Current XP, 544, 1,366. Shepherd LVL2, Job EXP, 60, 461. William went to Ella's stat page and unlocked the skill Horn Assault. Since there was an extra skill point, he decided to place it on Horn Assault as well. As for the 2 stat points, he decided to place all of them in Ella's agility. His battle plan for Ella was simple. He wanted her to be as nimble as possible for both attack and retreat. Since he had the Bastos skill and the wolves in sheep's clothing, he didn't need to worry about adding more points to strength for the time being. William's job level had also increased, so he had 3 available stat points in hand. To be honest, he was really thankful for getting the 1 free extra skill point due to Gavin's blessing. He didn't think twice and pooled all of his skill points to Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, giving a massive boost to Ella's stat points. Wolf in Sheep's Clothing 4 a 10. Passive. Increases all stats of the herd by 4. Strength 2. Agility 817. Vitality 417. Intelligence 217. Dexterity 217. With each extra stat and skill point in hand, William's confidence also grew. He had seen how Ella fought against the goblin, and it took her 4 attacks to kill it. The body of the goblin turned into particles of light and disappeared from the dungeon. No dropped loots? William stared at the space where the goblin died. Even the blood had also disappeared as if it was sucked up by the floor of the dungeon. The two continued hunting for goblins. Half an hour passed and they still hadn't encountered any other goblins aside from the 1 goblin they had fought earlier. I wish this dungeon had a map, William thought. It's hard to explore blindly. The moment William thought of a map, a floor layout appeared in front of him. 70% of the map was still shrouded in darkness. Only the places they had explored earlier were visible. Ha! The saying, "Ask and you shall receive," is true, William exclaimed as he looked at the map in front of him. Are there other features that I can use aside from the navigation system? Can I use cheat codes? Aya, greed is good. William looked around, waiting expectantly for gold coins to appear in front of him. However, nothing happened. The baby curled his lip in disdain. William had the never surrender expression on his face as he shouted the cheat codes in the games he had played back on Earth. Aya, debug modion. Aya, 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 aya. Up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. Aya, tulip. Aya, turtle. Aya, off-road. Aya, Rosebud. Aya. Power overwhelming. Aya, your daddy. William panted for breath as he finished shouting the cheat codes he was familiar with. A few minutes passed as an awkward silence enveloped the baby and the goat. Aya, so this game needs to be cleared first before I can play the NG version? Fine. Challenge accepted, William thought as she gestured for his mama Ella to allow him to mount her back. With the map hovering in front of him, William navigated the cave with ease. He accidentally found a stairway that was headed downwards as he was clearing the undiscovered places in his map. Frankly, he was half tempted to proceed to the next floor, but William was a completionist by heart. After a brief struggle, he decided to fully map the first floor before he proceeded to the second floor of the Goblin Crypt. After an hour of walking around, they were finally able to clear 70% of the map. It was also at that moment when William saw 2 red dots in the space in front of them. Finally, William thought, time for round 2. Aya! Mama, use quick attack! Me. Aya. Sorry, Mama, I got carried away. Ella laid down on the ground so that William could dismount. William crawled to the corner to hide. Ella immediately charged at the 2 goblins to engage them in battle. The baby was so focused on the scene in front of him that he didn't notice the red dot on the map that was slowly creeping up behind him. While William was watching the Angorian goat battle the 2 goblins, the wooden staff suddenly appeared in front of him, blocking the view of the battle. What's wrong with this staff? William thought. As if on cue, the staff tapped the map on his screen, which showed the red dot that was sneaking up behind him. William's body stiffened when he saw that the red dot was almost at his location. Out of panic, he grabbed the wooden staff with both hands. He then slowly turned his head to look behind him. Standing 4 meters away from him, a goblin holding 2 wooden clubs in its hands growled in anger. Ah! Mama! Just as the goblin was about to attack William, a white blur went past him and knocked the goblin flying in the opposite direction. Me? Ella stood in front of William with the intent to protect him. The goblin who was knocked away slowly stood up because Ella's attack wasn't strong enough to kill it. The other 2 goblins that the goat had engaged earlier were mostly unharmed and were also headed in their direction. Aya, Mama, let's retreat. Me. The Angorian goat unceremoniously bit the baby's clothes and ran away. While being carried to safety, William realized that he had been overconfident with his ability. He thought that with Ella's new gained abilities and his map, he would be invincible. I got too conceited, William thought. I forgot that this was a dungeon. Monsters can spawn anywhere at any time. Based on the games he had played in the past, random encounters like this were very common if you walked into a cave or in tall grasses. If not for the staff appearing to remind him that there was danger, William might have already been squashed like a pancake. When Ella finally lowered William to the ground, the baby was still deep in thought. Me. Aya. Sorry, Mama. Me. Iya. I will be more careful in the future. Me. Aya. I promise. Me. Ella nagged at William for 5 minutes before she finally relented. With this, the baby and the goat were in a dilemma. If they don't hunt for goblins, they would not be able to gain experience points. If they don't get experience points, they wouldn't be able to level up. After the incident, Ella was very reluctant to leave William's side. The baby understood his mama's worry, so he didn't say anything else. What should I do? William pondered. If only there is a place where monsters can't attack me. Wait, is there a safe zone in this dungeon? Read latest chapters on No Reval Bainom. William opened the map and checked the places that they had unmasked. Unfortunately, there was nothing that looked like a safe zone in the places that they had visited. Wait, there might be another way. William's eyes widened when he remembered something very important. Their current progress was similar to a game. In every game novel that he had read, there existed a mighty existence that helped protagonists make their life easier. What is that mighty existence? It's none other than the Aya system. William immediately closed his eyes. He had a feeling that all he needed to do was call out for it and it would appear. Within the darkness, something bright glittered in the distance. The baby immediately proceeded to that place and found the thing he was looking for. Hovering above 3 altars were the gifts that were given to him by the 3 gods before he left for the cycle of reincarnation. A chess piece, a CPU core, and a lollipop. Although William didn't know what the chess piece and the lollipop could do, he ignored them for now and went straight to touch the CPU core. The moment his hands touched the core, A dazzling light enveloped his sight. Ding! System has been activated. Preparing soul identification. Host has been identified. Now loading. Error. Host hasn't acquired the minimum requirement to open the system. System will shut down in 1. The light receded and the glow of the CPU core dimmed. William looked in dismay as he used the appraisal skill to check the requirement to activate Gavin's gift to him. CPU core. Activation requirement. Job level 10. Job level 10. William tilted his head. I'm currently at job level 2. I need 8 more to open the system. The baby opened its eyes and sighed. He indeed had a system, but he was unable to open it for the time being. I need to activate the system no matter what. William thought long and hard before coming to a decision. Aya, Mama Ella, let's go back for now. Me. William activated the ring and returned to the living room. Although their adventure ended prematurely, William didn't think that he hadn't gained anything from his exploration. For one thing, he gained a level. Second, he was able to understand more about the item that Gavin had given him. What William didn't know was that the 3 items that were floating in his sea of consciousness were not actually simple items, but divinities. These divinities could also be called God's essence, and they contained power that could affect the laws of the world. Of course, these divinities had certain restrictions as well. When the sun rose, William waited for Mordred and Anna to leave the room before conducting his experiment. He sat on the floor and summoned the wooden staff. The staff hovered a meter away from him, as if waiting for his orders. Magnum burst. The staff tapped the floor and a blast of air pushed Ella a few meters away from William. The carpets and the chair near him were blown away as well. William immediately opened Ella's status page to see if she was hurt, but her HP bar was still full. This meant that the skill didn't hurt her. Of course, he also thought of the possibility that the skill doesn't affect his allies. I need to find a suitable target, William thought. Aya, Mama, carry me. Me, Iya, I want to go outside. Me. The goat laid down and allowed William to mount it. Just like what happened in the dungeon, William felt that he and Ella had become one. It was a surreal feeling. He even thought that even if he swayed his body side to side, he wouldn't fall off from her back even if he wanted to. As the two left the room, they were discovered by William's grandpa, James. Oh? James looked. Where are the two of you going? Aya, outside. Me, I don't really understand. But make sure to not stray too far from the house, okay? Aya. Okay. Me. James watched in amusement as the goat and the baby left the house through the front door. That child reminds me of my childhood, James muttered. Just a year old and already out seeking for an adventure. Aya! Magnum burst. A shower of leaves fell down on William's head as he tried his skill on a tree. The bark of the tree had no visible damage, but the effect of the AoE had activated. Magnum burst. 5 mana points. Deals AoE damage up to 3 square meters around the caster. Damage is dependent on the caster's strength. Knockback effect. So, this skill currently deals no damage because I don't have any strength. William frowned. But it still has the knockback effect. William checked his stats and sighed. Strength, 0. Agility, 0, 1. Vitality, 1, 1. Intelligence, 14, 1. Dexterity, 0. Current XP, 544, 1,366. Shepherd LVL 2. Job EXP, 60, 461. I need 822 more XP before I gain another level to increase my stats, William used. Killing 1 goblin gives me 60 points. In order to level up, I need to kill 14 goblins. Should I add my points to strength when I level up? After careful considerations, William decided that it was not a good idea. Even if he added his stats to strength, he would not be able to deal massive damage to the enemy. Adding the stat points to intelligence would be more ideal because he could act as support to his Mama Ella. Magnum Burst is a good skill because it allows me to repel anyone that dares to target me. It will also give enough time for Mama Ella to come to my rescue. Although it doesn't deal damage right now, the knockback will be able to keep me safe. He's on assault. Me. Horns doubled in size and glowed bloody red. The goblin was skewered and shrieked madly. Ella didn't stop after she impaled her target. Instead, she ran towards the wall of the dungeon with the intention of crushing the goblin to a pulp. Gained EXP points, 60. Current EX, current X4, 1,366. Shepherd LVL 2. Job XP, 120, 461. Nice! William grinned when he saw the notification. Right now, he was multitasking. While checking the battle, he was also observing the map at the same time. His right hand was holding the wooden staff in preparation to protect himself if a random monster spawned beside him. He had already learned his lesson and he wouldn't allow any mistakes to happen this time. He and his mama Ella only had one life. It was best to be careful and take things slowly. Gained EXP points, 60. Gained EXP points, 60. Gained EXP points, 60. Gained EXP points, 60. After killing 13 more goblins, William finally gained a level in his stats and job level. Current XP, 18 2010. Shepherd LVL 3, Job XP, 439, 880. Although he was tempted to add the stats to strength, he knew that now was not the right time to do it. He placed the 3 stat points he gained to int, and it made him feel a bit more confident. Strengths, 0. Agility, 0, 1. Vitality, 1, 1, 1. Intelligence, 17. 1. Dexterity, 0. After taking care of his stats, William placed all of his available skill points to wolves in sheep's clothing. He knew that this was the safest investment he could make because Ella was the one fighting for him. The stronger she became, the safer he would be. Wolf in sheep's clothing 710. Passive, increases all stats of the herd by 7 points. To his chapter is updated by nafiyelbin.com. Now, it's Mama Ella's turn. Strength, 2. Agility, 10. Vitality, 4. Intelligence, 2. Dexterity, 2. Quick attack, 2, 5. 5 mana points. Charges at the enemy with incredible speed. The speed of this attack will depend on the agility stat x3 half. Horn Assault 2, 10. 5 mana points. Deals a powerful blow to the enemy. May cause the target to flinch. Damage is based on the strength stat x205. With this, the first floor has been cleared. William clapped his hands happily. Time to go to the second floor and see what kind of adventure is waiting for us. Ella licked the baby's cheeks. Clearly, she was in a good mood. She could feel herself getting stronger. For her, it was a good thing. Her only concern was William's safety. As if reading her thoughts, William reached out to hug her neck. Aya, don't worry, Mama. I'll keep myself safe. Me. Yeah, let's go to the second floor. Me. William sat on Ella's back with a smile on his face. The Angorian goat walked steadily as it descended, carrying her baby, to the second floor of the goblin crypt. 9 years passed swiftly, like the grains of sand inside an hourglass. For William, those 9 years were filled with close calls as he and Ella walked the thin line between life and death. Of course, he could choose not to use the Ring of Conquest and live a peaceful and unstable lifestyle. However, he didn't choose that route. He didn't want to waste his youth doing nothing but eating and sleeping. His mentality in regards to his second life was largely due to the influence of the novels that he had read when he was still back on Earth. William knew that if he didn't grasp the opportunity to become stronger while he was young, he would regret it for the rest of his life. In a valley located near the outskirts of Lant, hundreds of Angorian goats and sheep were currently grazing in peace. Not far from them, a 10-year-old boy sat on top of a tree branch. He was keeping a lookout for any potential threats to the safety of his herd. The wind rustled his short red hair as he watched his herd with a smile. Among the hundreds of Angorian goats, his herd only consists of 50 individuals. The rest were managed by 5 other shepherds and apprentice shepherds like him, who lived in the town of Lant. Will, a boy in his early teens, ran towards the tree where William was taking a rest. Your grandfather is looking for you? Gramps. William glanced at his friend Theo, who was also the son of the most senior shepherd in Lant. Do you know why he is looking for me? William asked. No, Theo answered. But he doesn't look good. He seems to be very angry. William frowned. His grandfather was a very happy-go-lucky person. Very few things could make him angry. Theo had no reason to lie to him, so something must have happened to the old man while he was away from the estate. All right. William nodded his head. Can you keep watch over my herd while I'm away? If I'm not back before my shift ends, bring them back to our family pen. But I was supposed to play with the others this afternoon. I'll give you a slice of apple pie. 2 slices. Deal, William grinned. He then shouted at the herd who was grazing at the pasture. Mama, let's go home. Gramps is calling for us. Me! An Angorian goat who was 1.5 meters tall broke out from the herd and ran towards William. The boy jumped off the branch and landed nimbly on the back of his mama, Ella. The two traveled back to their residence in haste. What William didn't know was that there was a storm brewing within the Ainsworth residence, and it was all because of him.